Okay, let's look at this project. Oh, I didn't put the due date on here. That's what I forgot. Maybe I put it. No, I didn't. I'll look up the due date in a minute and I will tell you what's right now. Okay, so what you guys are going to do group project wise, and here I'm probably going to split you guys up into maybe 3 groups. When you get past 3 people, it's kind of hard to get together to work on stuff, you know, and you get a whole bunch of people in one group. So, this is one of the more in-depth projects that we'll do this year, probably the most. But it's really interesting and it looks really cool when everybody's done and we can get everything split up and it works really well. What you guys are going to create is a display, kind of like you would see at like a museum or something like that, like an exhibit at a museum of a particular time period and how healthcare was done during that time period. So I think you'll be really surprised at how interesting it really is, and what all you'll learn. This is adapted from another health science teacher's project. I just went in and added some of my own stuff to it and just added some more specific directions. Last year I didn't give enough directions and so it made it kind of difficult. So anyway, so let's look at it. It says, for this project, you'll design a historical display much like you would expect to see in a museum. You'll work in small groups to create a display about medical care for a specific time period. And you've got different options. I'll tell you what those are in a little bit. This display must include a variety of features such as pictures, replications of art or artifacts, charts or graphs, maps, pictures, tool replications, things that you would expect to be used during that time period, models, etc. It should have different types of things. They should add to your display and each should be accompanied with a small plaque to educate the observer on the item, person, picture, etc. So requirements, what it has to include. I really like, I had saved a lot of display boards and now I don't know what has happened to them all. Yeah, I know, but I had saved some leftover
There's one
ones
behind you.
so people could use them. I don't know. Maybe they're back. Maybe they're down at the bottom down there. Anyway, so I have a few you guys could recover and reuse if we need to. But anyways, that's what I kind of have in mind. If you need me to buy you one, I can do that. So, but I should have some extras left over from other projects that people have done that they're wanting to get rid of. It doesn't have to be on that, but that's easiest to. That's what I'd like for it to be, so it can stand up on its own whenever we show them in the library. Okay. So it says requirements. There should be a minimum of 10 different subjects that you have researched within your time period. And what that means, and you might write some of this down, subjects can be like a person. Maybe there's a person who's specifically, to that time period that is significant. Maybe it's a tool. Maybe they came up with some new tool, something like that. Maybe it is like a practice, like Egyptians did mummification. So mummification could be one of their subjects. That makes sense. It could be, well, there's some of the areas down here. I don't know why I'm doing that. I have it listed. It says, of these 10 subjects, there should be at least 4 different types of, those 10 subjects should come from at least 4 different areas listed here. So discoveries or accomplishments. So they discovered something, maybe they discovered a immunization, maybe they discovered a medication, maybe they discovered a procedure, maybe they discovered that, blood isn't, we'll talk about this actually in a little bit, but like one discovery is they realized that blood doesn't just like pool in your body. It's not just like blood just floats around everywhere. Blood is contained in blood vessels. Makes sense? That would be a significant discovery. People that were significant during that time period. So a person who discovered something, or who, whatever, Hippocrates or whoever. Beliefs or theories related to disease. So what did they believe about it? Maybe they believed that it was caused by supernatural forces. So that might be a subject that you include. Who the healthcare workers were. So who were the people that worked? Maybe they were priests. Maybe nurses were looked down upon during that time period, or whatever. You know, those kind of things. Healthcare trends. So kind of what was popular. Major epidemics and or health concerns of that time period. So that might be something like the plague or tuberculosis or something. Do it. There you go, Spanish influenza, something like that. And then tools or procedures used. So what I'm saying is, out of your 10 subjects that you include as part of your display, there has to be at least 4 different types. Like you can't do 10 people. Does that make sense? You could do 4 people, and then you could do 1 belief or theory, 1 healthcare trend, 1 tool, and so forth.
So out of the 10, you just want us to do 4?
4, at least 4 different types. Does that make sense? I tried to make it as clear as I could on here, but so let's say you have your 10 subjects. I just want them to come from at least 4 different areas. I just don't want you to do, like I said, 10 people or 10 tools or 10 discoveries or whatever.
So you could do 4 people and 4 discoveries, 4 tools.
1 of the other 2, yes, but you just they have to come from 4 different areas. Okay. 10 things total, but they have to come from different spots.
Oh, okay. I get you say
Okay. Not 4 of each or anything like that. 10 total. I just want 4 different types of subjects. Makes sense now? Okay. I try to make it as clear as I could on here, but it's really hard to write that on paper. Okay, it says each subject of your display must include at least one of the following elements, and again, you have to have at least 4 different types of these total. Okay, so same idea. Every subject either has to have a picture, or you can put a timeline, or symbols. Maybe there's some like hieroglyphics or something that relates, I don't know, or radioactive. You know, like if radiation maybe is one of your discoveries, you could put like a radioactive symbol on there, something like that. Something that represents that particular subject. Chart, graph or table, music, which, whatever, maybe come up with some music. Computer display, you know, you had a PowerPoint or something rolling. Diary accounts. That's a really, one of the things that one of my students did last year was they created this, they like took some old tissue paper and wrote like a diary account on it, you know, from some words that somebody had written in their diary about like doing a surgery or something. Does that make sense? So it looks like, it's like a replication of a diary entry. Does that make sense? Copies or pictures of primary source documents, so just pictures of whatever a document, like maybe if it's, you know, some other document that you can find online. Illustrations, so drawings, maps, like if you did the plague, you might do a map of where all the plague was, that kind of thing. Collage, important quotes, it's pretty simple, easy to do. Replications of art, okay, so for example, last year, one of the students made this. This is like a replication of an early microscope. It had 2 lenses, and this is, you know, and so then this was part of their display. Does that make sense? So you can it doesn't have to be something. Now I have models and things that we can use for yours. So if you find something, I have like wound care equipment, I have all kinds of stuff. We can use that if that's something that you want to use for yours. Okay. Poetry or literature, and then a model. Like I said, these models that I have, you're welcome to those. So again, so for every subject, you have to have one of these items. Okay? But your display as a whole needs to have at least 4 different types of items. So you might have one picture, you might have one timeline, you might have one map, you might have one artifact. Does that make sense? Same idea. Here's the thing, I just want there to be variety. And that's why I did the 4 different types of each thing, because I want there to be variety on your display. I don't want it to just be boring picture, words, picture, words, picture, words. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I want it to be something people want to look at. Okay, so it says each subject of your display must have a plaque. These can be made using index cards or something similar, but it has to be either typed or printed very neatly so people can read it. It has to be printed, but written very neatly. Each plaque should answer the following questions as they apply. So, introduction to the subject, whatever your subject is, the person or people involved, an explanation of whatever it is, and then the significance of it both then and now. So, like, let's say you choose Hippocrates as your subject. And he's a person here. Maybe you put a picture of him on your display, and then you're going to have a plaque. So I'll have my index card. I'm going to write Hippocrates. I'm going to say who he was, when he lived, what he did that was significant, why he's still significant now. Those are the questions I'm going to answer about each subject. Okay? And that's going to go with that area. I have some examples. Oh yeah, this is what I'm looking for. My favorite one. Okay, now this one is not, I'm not saying that, I don't remember what grade they got on it. Some of their plaques do not have all the information. But, so they did ancient Egyptians. And so here's bloodletting. This is a procedure, something that they did. So they talk about it. They did 2. I really would like for you to just do 1. And if you're going to do this, type this out and cut this, paste that on the side that doesn't have the lines so it doesn't look all crazy. Okay, but anyway. And I don't like mixed, written and typed. Like either pick one or the other. I don't like that. That to me does not look very neat. But so they had a picture. Here's an artifact. They had something else. Oh, they had a bowl, and they had some tools that look like tools you'd use in mummification process. I have a lot of dissecting tools too, so that's something that we can put in there. So that kind of gave them some of their extra stuff. Again, not perfect, but it was. The display looks good as a whole. You know, I mean, it looks really. It's something that you're like, oh, I want to look at that. You know. So let's see. Yeah, this was I think this was supposed to represent a diary that was written. Let's see what I have. Okay, here's my video. So here is one that they did over the Renaissance. They had, I can't remember what all, they had some other stuff down here too. They had some artifacts with theirs. Here's a timeline they did of like when they learned different things. So like dissection of the body, and they went on. Pictures. Again, these don't have all the information that they need, so they would have lost out on some of that. But like I said, last year my instructions were not as clear because I'd never done this project before, so I didn't really know what all I wanted until later. That makes sense. Yes.
So this can be about like
a time? Like, is it supposed to be about the time, or can it be like about a person or a disease
This is
from
a
that
time.
Okay.
But now your subjects will be things from that time, like they did Andreas Vesalius and William Harvey. So those were two of theirs. So healthcare trend said dissection was something that was really that they started and learned about a lot. They had lots of people on theirs. Too many people. They learned how germs were spread. So anyways, those are examples of that. I'm trying to think of what all artifacts. I have like a really basic microscope somewhere that some people use.
So you can like give us a time frame?
Oh, we had to like,
Do what?
I was asking you to give us a time frame, but
I'll give you a, oh yeah, time, yes, I will, everybody else will. So this one they had one of the things they talked about was like DNA and stem cell research, so they had this DNA model on there. And I have a bunch of those. So that was on here.
I remember seeing that, I think.
So, like here, they talked about stem cell research, information technology, which is really important in today's age, reduce smoking, heart disease, camera pill. So, does that make sense? So, like how it all fits together. So they had that, pictures, and they didn't have all of those stuff anyway. So that just gives you a clue. Like I said, last year, I didn't really know what I wanted until I saw it at the end, and then I was like, oh yeah. This one has a pretty cool timeline on it. Their whole thing was like a timeline. So they had like an IV bag hanging up here. So vaccines were trends, CAT scans were new. And I have like pictures of x-rays and stuff. So if you get any ideas, I have tons of stuff. Anyway, so that's how, so this whole thing was, they just did their whole project like a timeline, which is cool. So that added in that timeline, they did quotes, and then they had that replication and they have pictures. So that covered their 4 different types of things. And they had their 10 subjects from that, Like CPR, well, I have all my CPR equipment you can set out, just to view. It doesn't have to be something you can stick on here. You can just set it out in front of it. That makes sense? Okay. It's really a fun project, and it's something to be proud of because it'll stay in the library for a little while.
are we trying this today?
Do what?
Are we trying this today or tomorrow?
Turning it in?
No, just like we need to start working on it.
Oh, it'll be tomorrow. We're going to do lecture in a little bit, so come on here. Okay, so it says, going on the instructions here, it says you must include an index card or plaque with all of your references on it. So one index card has to have all of your resources on it. Please put these references into MLA formatting as you would for a bibliography. Has anybody not done a bibliography ever? Or like a works cited? So if you need help, I'm happy to help you. So I want you guys to learn how to do that the right way. You're welcome to use Bibby online. Okay. Available, use it.
You don't have any restrictions on the site, like Wikipedia or something?
No Wikipedia. No ask.com. No about.com. Now you can go to those and get ideas of how to research. Like maybe you go to those and it says that some tool was invented. Okay, but go research that tool somewhere else. Does that make sense? You can start there to get ideas, but Wikipedia is just not very reliable, and so it's not to be used for a resource for research. But if you need to go there to get ideas, that's fine. again, I can help with that. Make sure, okay, since you do have to keep up with your resources, if you find some information somewhere, either print that page off that has the web address on it or something so that you can write that in on your resource later. Okay, make sure you keep up with those. All group members are expected to participate and it will be necessary. Your group will have the opportunity to comment on your presence and assistance with the project. You will get a group grading rubric at the end, so you'll write in what everybody did. That's worth 10% of the grade. And people are usually pretty honest on there, so. Okay, so topics. We have Egyptians, Greeks, and or Romans. You could do both or just pick one, that would be fine. Dark Ages and Middle Ages. Typically, it's kind of hard to find information on just one of those. That's when they're together. The Renaissance, 16th, 17th centuries, 18th century, 19th, 20th, and 21st. So those are the options for this. Okay, look at the rubric really quick. I made this rubric as very specific as I can, so when I grade, it can be as objective as possible. Okay, but the quality of your display as a whole is worth 12 points. So that's, is it organized? Is it neat? Is it creative? Like, does it not? And when I say creative, I'm not talking about it's something crazy, but does it stand out and make me want to look at it? Okay. Variety of research areas. So as long as you have at least 4 different areas where your subjects came from, you'll get all those points. And then each of your subjects here, and it tells you at the bottom how the plaques are graded on completeness of the questions answered. If it shows that you understand the material, and then how easy it is to read. Okay, if it's like choppy and not in sentences, I'm okay with it not being in sentences as long as it's still, I can understand it and it makes sense. That makes sense. Like if you bullet, whatever, of your information. Okay. And then the elements graded on designer quality and how they relate. So the picture, the timeline, etc. So for each of those, basically each subject is worth 7 points. And then as long as you have a good variety of the elements, you'll get all those, and the group grading is 10. So anyway, it's very specific rubric, and that's just so that it's easier for me to grade whenever it comes to it. Everybody can get the same.
Do we have a due date or we just?
Yes, I will tell you that. But any questions on the instructions? I have a lot going on there. What I would start on if you get stuck tomorrow and you're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? I would go ahead and figure out what your subjects are. Figure out your 10 subjects that you want to research. And that way, if you guys can figure that out, maybe you can split those up and different people research different things. Or you can split up your jobs, you go ahead and start on the display or whatever. But figure out your subjects so that then you can figure out your artifacts or elements that you're going to include with that and so forth. Okay. So I would start with just, if it's me, I would find different things about your time era and fit them into these subjects. And then if you get to where you're like, oh my gosh, I only have people or I only have this, then you can go research for other things. Like, okay, I want to find trends or beliefs or whatever. Because one example of something you could do, like let's say you find 5 different people who did something important. Well, maybe instead of making your focus the person, you make the focus the thing that they invented. And then you got 2 different subject types. That makes sense. You're still going to have to include them in there somewhere. But anyway. So that's that. It's a fun project. You've got lots of leeway to be creative with it. And I think you'll learn a lot and find some things that were really interesting and really disturbing about how people did healthcare a long time ago. But anyway, and you are welcome to use information from our PowerPoint that we're going to go over as we learn the history of healthcare. So use those and then just research them more in detail. If I've got them in our PowerPoint, I want more detail than what I've got on your display. That makes sense. But you can use that to start. Make sense? So we'll do this quite a bit in class, and we'll spend a lot of class time. You probably will have to spend some time out of class, but we will spend lots of time in class working on it. So any spare moment that you get in here, that's why you have a spare moment, so that you can work on your project. Use it. I mean, even if you just got 10 minutes at the end of class period, do something. Okay.